Much as I thought I could plan a podcast, that is not going to happen. I do not have the mindset to sit here. Chop up block for block how I'm going to tell you about weight loss and weight gain. Good morning on this, what's today? Tuesday. Oh, here we go again. Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. The time is 1:29 a.m. and welcome to Early in the A.M. with Isha. For about maybe 2 or 3 days ago, I was listening to, Rousseau, the 90 minutes of Rousseau. This part of the this Audible program that I signed up for, where it's like $3.50 a month. It doesn't give you any credits to buy books, but you can listen to whoever's under the free listen program. And I've been stuck on these philosophers like Rousseau and Descartes and Plato and Heidegger. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Heidegger. I messed it up twice. Well, the thing is, I be listening to these philosophers because I'm trying to build a base beneath my own theories. And the crazy thing is, I end up confusing and running into myself. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like, somebody says something similar to me, and instead of me adjusting to what I just learned, I almost just dump the product or whatever, or dump the idea, dump the theory, and I'm just trying not to do that. So for the next 3 days ahead of me, I'm going to try not to rely so hard on philosophy and just stick to what I know. And then, of course, I watched 2 episodes of The Shy tonight, and I'm really... the nostalgia. The nostalgia is killing me. It really is. It's, if I reflect the kind of hood that I grew up in and I know, and then I reflect it with The Shy across the screen, the realities are the same, but there's also a fantasy level there. And it's not even fantasy, it's just hard work showing labor, or the fruits of its labor. And I see that, and I like to write stuff like that, but when I write, my writing, especially when it's a hood story, they don't look like that. Like, I've written about 3 hood stories, and it's just not that caliber. It's not that good. And I know the writer, she must have went to some good school. She has a good core to write from. Because if you can really Rubik's Cube your core, you can really digitize that foundation, you can really turn and sequence things in really interesting orders. And I just wasn't, my writing comes from my struggle. And a lot of times I get so wrapped in my own head, my spellings be wrong, the way I formulate sentences be off, and it just looks like it's coming from an ignorant place. And it's only because I just think that my thinking is just twisted from being mishandled throughout my life. Let's see. There's Weed and Lava, and then there's the Poetry Pocket, and then what's the other one? And then One for Life. So there's 3 hood stories right there. One of them has a great ending, someone who actually escapes and gets to the stratosphere there. The other 2 is just, there's really no step up in life. There was no step up there. They kind of just shuffled around on the same floor. Maybe changed the tiles up, but it's still the same floor. But at least, from the change of scenery, their eyes having to look at something fresh and something new, it changes their perspective in a way. But I would love to write like she writes. I just don't know where I would have to go, or who I would have to watch or learn from to get my core to be that intricate. That is intricacy at its finest. To be able to switch stories and maintain the plot and not lose it in detail, that's a healthy core it comes from. And that's what my issue is. Not writing from a healthy core, you're writing a sound how like the damage that you are. And I be having mad issues with my wrist. Like I be going to write and then my arm shuts down. Like I can't like going to write or going to type. It's like cramps, and then I'm just gonna have to start literally like speaking a story or freestyling a story into a recorder and then trying to type it up later, or freestyling it into a recorder and then using this. They got this program where you submit audio files and it turns it to text. But that relies on me relying on the same brain that's damaged. And me, I lose focus a lot. Like I'll focus on a thing and then I'll trail off into something else. And I can't even help it. I can't even help doing that. And that's not a good way to write a story. But I guess if I just keep going at it and going at it and going at it, I can change it up where I need to. I can, tweak and fix whatever areas I need to fix. So that's the only thing that's making sense right about now. So anyway, I like the show. I'm getting into it, but I'm gonna try to make sure I watch all 4 seasons before this Showtime deal runs out. I did the same thing with Ballers. I had HBO for a little while, and I got through how many seasons of Ballers I get through? I think I got through maybe 3 or maybe 4 seasons. I got through before I had to cut off the HBO, and now that's another thing. Getting close to the character. I'm also learning how to how do you keep the character's emotions in a box. Because I'm one of those people where if a character dies in a segment, it be hitting me like it's in real life. So I always got to say if something happens, the character rest in peace. It keeps it in perspective and it keeps me from taking it, any further than I have to. Because I be dragging art into nature, and then it gets too far out there and it gets too uncontrollable, and then I end up getting hurt because the damage got to go somewhere, and you can't introduce people to the world and then let them get hurt on your watch, and then the shit comes back to me, and then I just be all fucked up. My hip be broken, I'm like bones and roses at this point, just bones and roses, and that's just how it is. Just being responsible for your own thinking, for your own being, for your own stay still. Like just having the audacity, even when you're scared to death, to know that, this may be a bullet coming in with this damage or some real heaviness coming in with the responsibility just because you wanted to explain your Isaiah 54 to the world. This shit is crazy. Like, this is my Isaiah 54. The sun is the top of the tent, and then I stretch it from everywhere. Of course, it hits where I am, then it goes from there to overseas. It may go from here to Chicago, to California, down to the South in Atlanta and Orlando and Miami. It may stretch into Texas, go back up into Maine, into New York, into New Jersey, go down into Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Las Vegas, Arizona. Then it has to go all the way across and hit Japan and hit China and then go back down and hit New Zealand and Australia and then cross back into Africa, then back into the States. Like, my love of nature does that to me. And it's going to do one thing. Either it's going to be promiscuous and it's going to get trains running it by dude after dude after dude, or it's going to find celibacy and it's going to do the same thing, but it's just view after view after view. In that way, at least it preserves my body, and I'm just not trying to be the ran all through version of myself. You know what I mean? If it is, I'd rather it be spiritual than sexual. And that's the God honest truth. There's an opening there. God created my opening in such a way where, and maybe the times is off. Maybe the time was right. God said, I should put your crazy ass right in 2022. Nah, you've probably fit this just fine, because you're crazy enough to turn on that switch and then turn it right off and then turn on just an even crazier switch. So, yeah, but bones and roses, There's something really pretty about me. It's something that survived. It's gorgeous as hell. It scares me sometimes. And then, of course, it's the ugly shit that I'm used to. And the two of them together, it's like, you know, how do you dress that shit up? It's like, it's a slant. You know, it's dead, it's alive, it's all these things. It works. I can't complain. It gets really nostalgic though. It comes in like hot nitrogen after you exhale, and the shit just gets in your veins, and it's like hot nitrogen, and it's just frying everything up like this emerald. It's just a bunch of loose emeralds running through your body, just hitting all the right spots, and everything just shines extra brightly. And I have lots of ideas I wanted to share to the world, especially when I was talking about the other day with the obligation that's placed on Western Christianity. There's a heavy ass anchor on that thing, and a lot of people refuse to see it. They get into Christianity and they accept Christ, and then their interpretation of Christ is in Israel. That's where they are in their head. And then there's people like me, you know, I believe the same thing, and then I go through something in life, and then this ugly truth keeps revealing itself to me. You know, part of me is like, you mind your business. That has nothing to do with being sexually irresponsible. I was like, sexual responsibility has everything to do with the Bible. Because if you're looking for an answer and belief outside of the dumbness you believe, that's where you go. You run to the Bible, it tells you what to do, what to believe, so you can fix this issue outside of the circles you run in. And it can put anchors and angels outside of those circles. So, you know, hopefully in the prayer and everything else, you know, you get an impression of which way you're supposed to go. And if you stay true to your focus and you follow it, you know, you cross over that and you move to something else. But it seems just like the more I try to be on the outside, the more I get sucked, I guess, caught in that vacuum and sucked back into the inside. And then I see the force behind Christianity, the trap that says to you, you know, you're the slave behind this religion. You got the blessed behind it. You got people who are destined to be servants, who just get worked out in the name of Christianity, and they never see any type of salvation in the waking day, in the living. You know, you get promises for after your death, but who knows? Who knows what happens there? Nobody's ever come back from the dead and said, you know what? All of my blessings came true. They just, once they're there, they're gone. I won't have a need for earthly things after I'm gone. It just seems like, you know, just getting hustled in a different direction. And then I got to rely on God anyway, and I'm just, you know, trying not to put bad karma after bad karma on anything. It's just a perspective that keeps beating up on my other perspectives. Like, why is this one beast in a strong arm and all the positive ones? Every time this one comes in the room, everything punks into the corner. I'm like, it's a headache, man. But I get it, you know what I mean? Everything comes from pain. Christianity came from pain. It grew up through a painful place in the black culture. And they've worked it out, and they brought it full circle into a blessing. Can't be mad about that. Sometimes you got to face the past to see, you know, Christianity was ugly at us for some point. It came through our ugliness. It came through our pain. But we kept looking at it favorably, and now we have favor in it. Don't ruin that for us, because you have to go back and see what the root looks like, because your roots are exposed. My roots being exposed make me ugly, make me feel ugly, make me do things like Angry Bird Chronicles, where I chastise myself into a corner. I have a waywardness there that is too high and too low, and ain't nothing but thunder in the middle. And every time I step into her shoes and I capitalize straight up on a capitalized tip, I can go there further in and checking my excuses and my errors that I need to. Because there's nothing there checking it. There's no heartbeat, you know, challenging another heartbeat. There's nothing stopping me from saying it. Yeah, it's scary as hell. I go back and I listen to that conversation. I was like, why the hell would I speak such nonsense at myself and then have no internal orders checking my behavior, stopping me from doing this to myself? But you know, you gotta be good. You gotta let the ghost out when it knocks on the door unless you want them shits going through walls. You don't want shit just walking